UK enjoys a month without coal power for first time for 138 years. Within a few years, there will be no coal generation at all, with the remaining plants shuttered, and 1 or 2 converted to gas by 2025.
Here's a summary of the article.
The United Kingdom's rapid decarbonisation of its electricity grid has achieved another significant milestone, completing a whole month without coal power for the first time in 138 years. The milestone was reached on Sunday time and celebrated by National Grid ESO, the organisation that runs the grid and is responsible for keeping the lights on. It was the first time this occurred since coal power was first used on the UK power system in January 1882, at Holborn Viaduct. National Grid aims to be able to operate a fully zero-emission grid when weather conditions allow from 2025, and is accelerating its adoption of new technologies and management systems that will allow it to sideline gas power plants when possible. Just a few days before the new month-long coal-free milestone, National Grid released its latest end-of-year planning report outlining the main achievements it has made in the long path to a fully decarbonised grid before 2050. And as supply changes, so too does demand. As renewables capacity and smart grid functionality increases further to enable the sidelining of gas power plants when possible. On Sunday, apart from reaching the coal-free milestone, National Grid ESO reported a record 2,000 MW drop-off in demand, followed by a 700 MW rebound, which became immediately before and immediately after a televised speech on COVID-19 policies delivered by Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
This post received a score of 7,200, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Meanwhile, over here in Australia, we're 50 years behind and coal is the future.
Any Australian politician who is pro-coal, and all Australian coal executives should have lumps of coal shoved where the sun don't shine. Unless they're into that.
I mean, it's Australia, you have lots of free space and sun. Is coal just cheaper?
Any threat to coal is a direct threat to their wealth, and the Liberal Party has no problem with fucking over everyone to benefit their mates. There is a very strong far-right nutter sect of the Liberal Party. People like Craig Kelly outright deny the overwhelming scientific evidence of climate change, preferring instead to misinterpret scientific papers and cobble together an alt-right third-graders attempt at debunking climate change. During the bushfires this summer, when the Liberal Party was finally forced to accept the tiniest bit of reality about climate change because the entire fucking country burnt down, this sect in particular ensured that there would be no discussion of climate change policy. Greater than in the eyes of the rest of the world, and the Liberal Party were basically just a hole in the ground with fancy rocks. I know you're talking economically, but I've always thought of Australia as a big flat rock with sparse vegetation and some habitable bits around the east and south third of the coastline, crawling with all sorts of venomous and poisonous flora and fauna. With Ayers Rock as a tiny nipple in the middle. In fact, if you look at a map of Australia oriented with south at the top, it's kind of like a saggy breast.
85% of Australians live on the coast. The cities are just like any other big city, with big surrounding suburban areas. Sydney is one of the most expensive cities in the world. The rest of the country is made up of rural towns who live very reductionist lives. We have a hugely diverse landscape: beaches, rainforests, deserts, snowy mountains, you name it. The majority of the central landscape is very sparse though.
This is truly impressive. In Aus we have bucket loads of sunlight and have only just begun to crawl. Unless your government actively keeps renewables out of the market, they are coming at this point if you want them or not. On a raw market basis, renewables have been cheaper than coal for a while now and the price is still falling. And industrial batteries are breaking through as well now, which negates the primary disadvantage of renewables: unpredictability. These are exciting times, but the push is not over. We must continue to shout and make a fuss.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.